and at the highest level of this shit, bro, it'll break your heart. It will break your heart if you know what's going on. The more levels that you get up, like the women that dudes is wifing to be the eighth girl in an orgy for a lit dude, bro. Like
just nasty.
The eighth one. Yeah. See what I'm saying? So that's somebody's bride. You got to focus on yourself, man. Dudes be focused on girls that camp out in the NBA players lobby, bro.
That's why I
mean, camp out for days, bro. Like how I camped out at the BT Cypher for my dream. They'll camp out for an NBA player, and this is the girl that dudes will. This is the girl that dudes will put all their time and brain power into and resources into, and she's just a kill to somebody else. You see what I'm saying? Yeah. And a low level kill, the eighth kill in the orgy. All girl orgy. It'll break your fucking heart if you knew.
I think we have used like terms like incel and red pill, all that good stuff. Even though I've been critical of those communities, I think we've used them as kind of like dismissive pejoratives, like, yeah, I'm red pill ass motherfuckers. And I think that a lot of what men are suffering from is the catastrophic realization of what the world really is, and a deconstruction of what we were led to believe was the most magical aspect of the world, being women. We were led to believe, for the most part, that women were magic. Women were sugar and spice and everything nice. She was every woman. If you give a woman this, she'll multiply it into that, and et cetera, et cetera. And I think a lot of men, whether that realization happens early, like in grade school, and which is something that people also dismiss, or you got your heart broken in 5th grade and you haven't recovered from it, or whether it happens later in life, it is a devastating realization. I was reading something a while back about kind of like the art of debate or the art of arguing. And basically they found that the same part of your brain that lights up when you are in a fight or flight response, like let's say a tiger walks into the room, is the exact same part of your brain that lights up when somebody, if you're a religious person and somebody says God's not real, right? So our brain treats physical danger the same way it treats philosophical danger or dismantling of your worldview, right? So on a very deep level, we discount, we minimize, we trivialize how devastating that was or that is to boys making, especially during those years of making the transition to manhood, to come to that realization, to be confronted with that truth. And the way that he kept saying it will break your heart is really like at the core, it will break your heart. It will dismantle everything you thought.
I agree with Buddy in the first video. I've seen a lot of that firsthand. Like a whole lot of that firsthand. Like one time I just seen a whole lot of that firsthand. And it's one of them things where you almost feel bad for the guys, but you don't want to get in nobody else's business. You know what I'm saying? Like, because he not pump faking when he say how people be going. Like they really be going. And that's the same person to somebody that's not in the circle. Because almost every city got like the like he said, like the lit niggas, they got a clique. And that clique do any 80% of the beautiful women probably ride that clique is familiar with in some facet or another. You know, unless you find somebody that's tough, never be outside, never go, never. So the niggas that's lit all got the resume on them that everything that's worth like messing with as far as attractiveness, except for a small, like, 20% portion. And when those men find out, they hard be broke if they actually figure out what was going on, and then they be on a tier. And it's hard to walk that back when you feel like you believed in a fantasy of what women were or what this specific woman was, and now your whole world gets shattered and you don't trust nobody. That is hard to heal from. I can see how that would be the same as a lion attacking you or something real crazy. Because anybody who ever have felt an emotional pain so much that it was hurting you, like in the middle of your stomach or chest or something like that, that's that plus betrayal. So it's her leaving you for whatever reason, plus the betrayal of being tricked that entire time. So it's not that easy to heal from some of that stuff. So I kind of get it. My advice would just be take people how they show you, but always be a little skeptical. So you can leave yourself some leeway not to just be overly invested, But yeah, But the dude in the beginning, he 100% right. He undersold what actually be happening.
Niggas gotta get over that shit. They gotta get over that. Like, I think like the one thing you can't do is, well, and we all learn this at some point. We don't start out this way. Like, the one thing you can't do is be this. Like, if my girl cheated on me tomorrow, cool, that's your bitch now. I'm like, go find me, go find me. Like, I ain't tripping. I'm not on that. Like, I don't. When you set the expectation that somebody can never, under any circumstance, do something, like, I'm not like that, Not no more when I was younger. Hell yeah.
But that's like, a shocker, bro. On your Instagram, you look in love like a mug, boy.
I'm in love, absolutely. But
she'll be in the streets crying with rain pouring and shit.
Hell no. Hell no. Like,
I saw you walking in the rain.
That motherfucker gonna be somewhere laid up, listen to Mary J. Blige and shit with his lying ass.
I'm be getting money. That's all. I'm be getting money.
That Carl Thomas.
Oh hell yeah, that shit's a repeat for sure. Don't know.
I wish I never met her.
Oh hell yeah.
Watch this, real up. You ain't never had your heart broken.
You can't act like the next day you'll be like, hey man, shit, that's your girl.
You gotta get to this point. You don't just kind of like, when I was younger, hell yeah. Not everybody, but I know, like, I started out a lame. I was a lame. I think my first girlfriend cheated on me. I'm not sure, but I think she did. At this, like, looking back, I'm like, I don't think that bitch cheated on me. But I think we all kind of did, but it just comes with wisdom of, like, I never want to be one of them niggas that's like, I seen a video with what movie was that when the guy was talking to Morris Chestnut, like, yo, your girl ain't never get hit.
Best man. When he was scared of the birds and all that.
Your girl ain't never get hit. You sure?
He was being messy when I asked him that.
When I was 12, the girl I kind of had a little crush on that was dating a little bit, I found out she was a flipper. And ever since then, I ain't never, you know what I'm saying? It ain't never get me past that point. I always knew the possibility exists. So, and I wasn't invested enough in her that it broke me. But I understood what it was at that point. Cause I'm like, damn.
So she was a 12-year-old flip. You saying
she was like 13? It was some older niggas. That
that's way better.
16.
Yeah. That's way better.
Really? Yeah, she was.
I mean, back in the day, shit, that don't sound too uncommon, bro.
Yeah, she was like built like an older, like, she had developed early. So I'm looking at her, thirsty and shit. Then come to find out the Cicero Insane Mafia niggas was messing with her. I'm damn.
I think every man should go through a heartbreak before he get his shit together. Because if you go through a heartbreak once your shit is together, or you already made it, you got a bag, you had too many resources, and that crash out will be expensive and epic. If you go through it when you broke and regular, it'll just be crying in the car, watching movies, making like playlists full of, fuck that bitch type music. And you know what I'm saying, just trying to get it out your system by getting up under, getting behind the new girl. But if you wait until you later in life to finally understand like women's nature and what a heartbreak is, I wouldn't wish that on.
So do you think that men should talk to as many women as they can to develop that, that you know what I'm saying?
Here we go.
That what you call it, you know what I mean?
And White.
Hey.
And White, what did we say already? We already answered the question.
Yeah, I'm just saying.
As many as you can. I don't know about that.
Are you trying to get me to go on record and say yes? Because I think a man has to have experience dealing with women before he can be successful with them. It's repetition. I don't think he should go out to hit 1,000, like sleep with 1,000 women, but dealing with women, I think is the only way that you can become good with women.
And I actually agree with that, because I say all of my homies that was players back in the day that had a bunch of girls on them or whatever, they're married with children and they don't even care about anything else going on outside. Like they quit everything. But the guys who are late bloomers are still out there trying to club, still out there on dating apps, trying to do this and that.
They playing catch up.
Huh?
They playing catch up.
Yeah, they're playing catch up. Yep.
Yeah, I don't know about as many as possible, but I think you should definitely.
Not as many as possible, as many as necessary.
Oh yeah, as many as I agree with that.
Right.
Like,
Could we put a number on that then? If that's the case,
hey, bro, you
acting
like an op right now, G. Like, why are you trying to get us to put a number on it, bro? No,
because
as many as necessary.
I just want to make sure we all on the same page because it looks different for everyone. And some people who were listening to us might be like, well, damn, what does that even mean? So I just think we should always be pretty clear about what it is that we're saying, so it's no confusion. That's all. Like, if you think it's a number, then it's a number. Like,
I think it all depends. To me, it all depends on like how much a man can manage individually without getting distracted on his, on his goal or on his program. You know what I mean? Because some dudes could date 5 at a time. Some could only focus on one. You know what I'm saying? So it really just depends on the guy. Like I definitely don't say date as many that'll just knock you off of your square.
But if
that's
a man
still very
is
confusing to the listener.
Square, though,
that's very confusing to the listener. That's very confusing. Because
no, it's not. Because it all depends on what your program is. Like
the only people that's confused by are the people who doesn't apply to. So, like what he just said is going to make sense to the men that should make sense to. What you were saying is going to make sense to the men that you're looking out for who have no business dealing with women in the first place. What me and White and Mott have said is going to make sense to the men who are in the position that we were in and that we're talking to. So the right person is going to hear the right message from the right messenger. You're not fixing to get me to go out there.
Man, you sound like Kamala Harris right now, bro.
Yeah, I made sense. So wait, so I sound like Kamala Harris, but I actually made sense and can support my point with logic. That's some shit.
All I'm saying is that we should have some type of parameters, even if it's an estimate. I'm not trying to hold you to a single digit or nothing like that. I'm just saying. So what does that look like? Does that look like 5? Does it look like
as many as necessary?
Trying to do the number thing, it just get nerdy, like with the numbers and all that type. Like niggas know how, like you gonna fill it out when you start to like understand the level.
Chat asking for the numbers. I see too.
I'll tell you how many it took for me personally.
Okay, that's fine. That's all we can ask you.
It took me 3, 2.5, and that's all it took for me to understand what it was.
What you had a midget?
We don't have to talk about it, but the point is this: it took me.
Wait, pause. I think you might want to explain that, Willie. What we doing?
How the fuck you get half a woman, bro?
Yeah, you got some explaining to do.
Be clear
no Diddy
these days.
No, not even a little bit. It wasn't a midget. It just like it wasn't like a full relationship. It was just somebody I was dealing with and talking to. So it wasn't.
We're talking about human beings, like
exactly. So I'm counting relationships, not people.
No, but he's talking about people, bro.
Yeah, so it was 3. So we'll just I'll give it to you. So 3. I said 2.5 because we wasn't like exclusive. But it's
you counted her though.
Yeah, it took me
that half is a booty call. She was a booty call. He fell in love with.
Like, I don't know why we have to like y'all acting like women right now. Like we got to define every fucking thing. But
Willie, don't do that. Don't flip it like that, Willie. Come on, man.
It took me 3. It took 3 women for me to understand like what it was. Like one, you were saying, the first one you were saying, high school sweetheart. We was together from the time that I was 2 to 22, basically. Went to the military together, so I saw that one. And then I had another relationship after that was kind of like, okay, I learned a lot about myself in that one. And then my in my marriage, I learned a lot about women and just their nature. And since I have not had a problem with women because I understand what it is, I understand what it's not, and I understand too that at the end of the day, I'm responsible for the outcome of this relationship. So now that I operate in that, under that energy, I don't have problems with women. Like it's not a problem I can have. I'm not gonna have a problem with my woman. I'm not gonna have a problem with women that I'm not even dealing with, just out in the world interacting with them, because I understand women based on what I went through with those 3 people. For some niggas though, they may need 30 women to go through because sometimes some niggas are hard-headed. Somebody like some dudes, they gotta marry a hoe. Some dudes, they gotta marry a girl who, that that doesn't like them, is just settling for them. Like there's certain things and certain lessons that men can only learn under the right, like you said, parameters.
So we can't be teaching men how to do this. They have
hell no. It comes with experience, man.
No, it's come with experience. We can't teach that.
What are we for then?
So in this instance,
what are men for if we're
moral support. That's all we're for in this instance is moral support for our homies.
So we should not be educating men on how to find a suitable helpmate.
All right, so humble dad, as you know that most men think with their little head. So you can say whatever you want. You know what I mean? Hey man, she a hoe. Man, she fucked 5 of the homies. She did, and these are true stories. She fucked every dude I know, bro. You still gonna wife her? Okay, cool. That's on you. But then after a year or two, you're gonna figure out why I'm right. And sometimes, or the majority of the times, some guys got to learn the hard way. You know what I'm saying?
I'm not disagreeing with that point. That's not what I'm not talking about that. I'm saying, as men, as leaders of a community, shouldn't we be educating young dudes on how to move as it relates to women?
Yeah,
absolutely.
The best thing you could do is just be the example. You got to be the example on how to move.
But this is the thing, though.
They're gonna make their own choice.
This is the thing. Like, a lot of us don't have the influence that we like to think that we have on younger generation. A lot of the people that they're going to listen to, who are going to they're going to learn from, are going to be their peers, right? Of course, we want to teach the young men. We want to teach the young men. Yeah, absolutely.
It's not true. That literally goes against the information that is stated that when men are when a dad is in the household and it's a mom and a dad in the household, they have a clear distinction on how that son and daughter is raised. That's the whole purpose of the dynamics, right? This is only really seen in certain cultures.
That doesn't disprove the fact that as much as a father can be in his son's life, there's just certain shit that he's not going to listen to him.
But he's not less likely to.
There's certain things that
there's going to be in the back of his head.
That's not what we're talking about. We're talking about the fact that all men need to go through shit with women to be good with women.
Yeah.
All the shit that my father told me about women when I was 17 was in one ear, out the other. That man told me I shouldn't be fucking somebody I had to use a condom with. In my 17-year-old brain, that meant that I should be fucking everybody raw. 14 years later, it meant that I shouldn't be sleeping with someone that I have to protect myself from. And if I am worried about having to protect myself from things like STDs or pregnancy, we shouldn't be having sex. That's the difference. You can't say, we're never going to say that we shouldn't be teaching men anything. That's not what we're talking about.
I didn't say that.
There's certain lessons that you just can't teach somebody. They have to learn from their own experience.
I don't disagree with that, but that wasn't the claim in the beginning. The thing that you all said was that they got to just figure it out on their own. That's what was said.
Yeah,
they do.
Of course, we're going to give guidance. We're going to tell them we think.
You can't say of course because that's not what was stated in the beginning.
This is the thing, right? You know how you learn how to box?
Getting punched in the face.
Somebody
from boxing. The best way to learn how to box is from boxing. It's from sparring.
But somebody's teaching you too.
Somebody's teaching you, but you're fighting someone. You have to fight another human being to get better.
But before that, you don't just start fighting though.
No, yeah, you start to learn the basics, right? And then you go out in the field and you practice it. You start fighting.
Right.
And the only way to maximize, the only way to become a really good fighter is to start fighting on your own. Of course, you're gonna have, your coach gonna tell you like, yo, look out for this, look out for that. Oh, I see this. There's an opening right here, right? But at the same time, you gotta get in that ring. There's nothing else that you can do to become a great boxer besides have experience at boxing.
I don't disagree with that statement. I'm saying, based upon what was said in the beginning, was not what you just said. And I was responding to what was said in the beginning, which was, oh yeah, you just got to get out here and get as many as you want, what is necessary, or get as many women and have the experience with women. That was what was said. And so I'm responding to that. That's
kind of like a form of sparring. You know what I mean? Like you got to kind of get out there. I could tell you whatever, but until you get out there and bob your head or whatever, that's when you're gonna figure it out.
Always.
Both are necessary though. Because there were lessons that my people told me that I completely ignored. And next thing you know, I got a girl pregnant at 19. But all my life I heard, wear a condom, condoms. You know what I'm saying? And I had to suffer the consequence of that. You know what I mean? So, I can't say that they did a bad job. I could just say that, man, like, I had to learn my lesson. But from then on, I was like, okay, I need to take better precautions for sure. Because I almost got caught up.
And I think it's implied that obviously you always are going to tell your kids things. Well, every time a young man come around you, you're going to be giving them game. That's implied, right? It's inevitable. The same way that we up here talking because we talk too much.
For our generation, it's implied. But for our generation, it's implied. For his, it wasn't. That's fair.
Oh, they wasn't trying to tell y'all about nothing.
What you mean? What's my generation?
Having conversations with y'all about like, yo, this is how women is going. This is how women are. This is how, yo, they wasn't. Just...
No, I didn't. That wasn't necessarily in my camp or anything like that. But I'm an educator, so I understand, and some of y'all well, that you would have to give them examples first, and then of course they're going to have to go take the test on their own and figure it out. But just to say, well, they just got to go take a test without you have given it's not implied based upon what y'all said. And I was only responding to the first thing that y'all said. Now that you're giving more context, I'm in agreement with that particular part of what you're saying.
Yeah, giving your kids game is the most important thing a father can do to his son. Regardless of all the school shit, the reading, writing, arithmetic, all of that stuff, the game and how to showing them how the world works. That's probably the most difficult thing to give your son too, especially when he's older. I have my oldest son is 19, and Jesus, if I could go and take a time machine and go forward 5 years and show him where his life would be if he took my advice, as compared to where it would be if he doesn't, I would. But unfortunately, I have to just try to gently guide him to make the best decisions as he can, even though I know he's about to crash and burn. I understand that. I just have to make sure that after that, I'm here to help him, smack him in the back of the head, like I told you so a little bit. But that's the same. We were all the same way as kids, though. I'm pretty sure that my father told me a lot of shit about women that I didn't listen to, because if I had, I wouldn't have been through the shit that I've been through with women. And same with his father and theirs. So I don't think that any of us can say that we don't have that same story or those same things we can say as far as what we were told to do and what we chose to do.
Yep. I suffered a hell of a consequence by not listening.
Well, hey, I didn't start having unprotected sex until after I was married. So I didn't listen to my father, but it was for the wrong reason.
So do we agree? Do y'all are y'all saying, like, I don't know what the guys on the panel, like, your opinions are y'all saying that like a guy should be, or at least you humble that, are you saying that like a boy should, when do you think a boy should be looking for a mate, like a literal, like somebody to marry?
Looking forward to marry. This is my thought process. I think that there should be a guidance to starting when they turn 16. And then I think that the young dude should get married as soon as possible, as soon as they're ready, mentally ready, and on the path as it relates to finances, ready.
Okay, so what do you think that looks like? And
so that looks like, okay, my son finds somebody he wants to court, when he's 16. I'm around to be able to give him guidance and understanding of like what's going on, have somebody parent supervision for the most part. And then his senior year, give him a little bit more leeway, and let him know I'm an open door. Of course he probably go out into the world, and then just kind of be that counselor or that advisor as he goes forward, and let him know you want to have a job, you want to have a plan, and hopefully you can find somebody, I don't know, around graduation or somebody in college, so to speak, if you decide to go to college. But my son probably won't go. But in the world of work or whatnot, or wherever you may be, find somebody and get married around 21, 22 years old is what I would say.
Okay, I wouldn't, because that's not my position. So I was kind of like trying to gauge, like, what are y'all trying to say that guys should do versus, I don't think a guy should be getting married. I think that's when he should be learning, at that period. He should be learning about women, and he should be, kind of getting his feet wet. And, maybe closer to like 30, like, he'll know when he's like ready for like when you actually ready to be responsible for a woman and stuff like that. But I guess it's going to be different for everybody, but definitely.
Well, if you look at, I mean, this is what I've read. It's in a book called Marriages for White People. And so in the book, it's talking about that when Black men get to the point of 30 and they make more money, they're less likely to get married. However, in other cultures, they're looking to get married earlier or as soon as possible so that they can begin their family, right? And so the black culture is doing it incorrectly, but continue to try to figure it out when other people have already done it.
Well,
so Humble Dad, have you heard of like the Goldilocks zone, which kind of states that people who get married between like 28 and 32 have the greatest likelihood of a long-lasting marriage?
Yes.
Versus, people who get married younger are more prone to fail, and people who are age out of that, as you start to get to like the late 30s, they also fail.
Yes, I'm definitely aware of that. But to every study, there is a particular reason of why, right? If you look at it from a biblical perspective, and it says that the two people, if they are working in alignment with what it is that they're called to do, and they're praying together and they're going to church together, they're less likely to get a divorce. And that's not really based upon age. So now, if you're talking about what you said, that particular zone, I'm not opposed to the 28, 30, like that particular time frame. I'm not opposed to that. But you asked me what I would be teaching based upon, because I know, and I have friends and people that have gotten married younger than 22, and they're still married to this day.
Are they religious?
Right. So I understand. Now, your position isn't a bad one, because I do understand. I don't think the age would even matter if they are completely grounded in the principles of the Bible. But most people aren't, and that's the issue. So I can't convert people religiously. So when I normally tell people like what may work, I kind of look at, the data and stuff like that. For me and mine, of course, I think differently. I'm sure you would too. But when I'm talking to like the general public, then I just kind of go with what works for most people. That's the only reason I would state that.
I understand, but he asked me my perspective, and I was just giving mine. So it is what it is. I'm cool with that.
And I think it's harder to be in alignment when you're still learning yourself, when you're still finding out who you are, what you want to do, who you want to be. Which you're more likely to be trying to do that at 20 versus 30 or 28. That makes sense.
Your brain's fully developed like when you're 25, 26. So then give yourself some time. Like I told my son, you shouldn't want to have a wife or a family until you've done everything else in life. All you have to do left is to grow old and die, because that's when you can focus on your family. You can focus on being a father, being a husband, because that's all you have left to do. Your bucket list is checked off. You've done everything else you want to do. And then you also are in a position where you can provide and protect that family and be all the things your family needs you to be. I don't think a man can be that prior to, later in his life. Unless, he's a guy that, just figures it out, gets his bag early, gets his mental, gets all of those things before he's 30. But who does that happen? How often do we see that happen?
It happened to my folks for sure. But then it also says in the Bible, he who finds a wife finds a good thing and he will be blessed. You know what I'm saying? So there's blessings that are to happen, after that man gets married.
Do you think the majority
finds that wife?